What place, and I'll direct this first to Matthew, what place do Catholics have in AI, and what are you doing specifically about it? And I first learned about Magisterium AI from Scholar Pinto here, and the more I dug into what you were doing, like, this is quite impressive, and I think could have application here as well at Ave Maria University. But maybe you can dig in a little bit into what you're doing with Magisterium AI.
Sure. I mean, ultimately we kind of, realize that in the future, there'll be so much information that we'll be bombarded with, we're going to almost have to have a personal AI to filter for us, because we won't know what's real and what's not real. How do I know that email is legitimate? How do I know? And so when you think about this world where all the information is kind of mediated through some kind of AI system, the question really, how am I going to have to trust this AI system a lot, right? I mean, it's going to have to access to almost every area of my life. Now, I'm not saying that there's some people who won't unplug and live a Mennonite existence, and in many ways I find that very appealing. But for those of us who have to remain plugged in, I think this is just something we're probably going to eventually have to do. And I'm going to want to make sure that that AI system understands that I'm Catholic and is aligned with me. Now, I think we have to manage our expectations of what that AI is going to be capable of. But that was something that was very important to me. And so the question was, well, how do we do that? How do we ensure that an AI system can be aligned with the Catholic faith? And so that was kind of the problem we set out to work on. And so we recognize that we're not going to be able to build frontier AI ourselves, train these models for hundreds of millions of dollars, soon to be billions of dollars. But what we could do is we could figure out how to put together a compound AI system which at least helps the AI to understand church teaching enough that we can reduce the probability of it hallucinating or making a mistake down to as low as humanly possible, to almost statistically insignificant. And so what we realize is that these foundation models, for the most part, they're very eager to please. So if you give them the right context and the right inputs, for the most part, there's still a lot of work involved with this, but you can keep them on specific rails. So if fidelity is what we're aiming at, we want an AI system which is faithful to church teaching. What specific rails, what specific context do we have to provide it in order for it to be faithful? And one thing we realized is that if we put together everything the church has ever said, never written, and we provided that to an AI, and when you ask it a question, it goes and checks all those writings, and it pulls out the ones that are relevant, reads them, and then grounds its answer. That becomes the ground truth for the AI. It grounds its answer in those documents. Its reliability increased significantly by, I would say, a couple orders of magnitude. And there's a bunch of other techniques that we've used, but that's really become kind of our mission, is how do we digitize everything that the church has ever said? How do we provide it to an AI system and provide it the right instructions so that it learns eventually how to be faithful? And if we can do that and then make it available to anyone in the world on any device, right, in their native language, think about the opportunities for evangelization there, especially for those who maybe are going to be in crisis existentially, right? If they have a place they can turn to say, I've tried everything else, I heard about this thing called the Catholic Church, I heard about this AI, let me just start asking those big questions to this AI, and hopefully that starts them on a journey in which we can then off-ramp them to a parish community and they can go deeper in their faith sacramentally and everything else. And so that's kind of why we're in this. We just think that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to need this, and there's a lot of people out there already that acknowledge that it's helping them in research and things like that. But I worry more about the future, this existential crisis that we're heading towards. And I just want to make sure that we don't lose anybody because there wasn't a tool available to them to put those big questions to.